All right, joining me now is Democratic Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut. He's on the Intelligence Committee. And Congressman, to hear Rudy Giuliani's voice, and this isn't veiled. This is Rudy Giuliani saying, if you do this for me, I will do that for you. There's a Latin term for that, isn't there?
It's quid pro quo, and it's funny that you bring that up because, of course, look, this is not new. The president was impeached for this. We knew this was happening, and no surprise coming from Rudy Giuliani, he of Four Seasons Total Landscaping and the insane effort to defend this president. But remember, the senators who voted against impeachment over the obvious use of American official resources in the service of the president's re-election effort, right? I mean, I've always thought that was worse than Watergate. The senators who refused to convict said, well, it's not clear there's a quid pro quo. Well, it was clear then, and it's clear now. And even more horrifyingly, of course, is that Rudy Giuliani wasn't alone. Years later, Senator Ron Johnson is promoting this notion that there was, some conspiracy in Ukraine, and he wasn't alone. And, of course, Rudy Giuliani had help. Not so much from the official people, the professionals at the State Department, but he had help, as we saw during the impeachment trial.
He also had help from the President of the United States, who ultimately made a phone call himself to the Ukrainian leader. It was not dissimilar to what we heard just there. Congressman, I want to get your take on, first of all, there's a huge cyber outage this morning where CNN's website, the New York Times website, other news websites are suffering real problems. They appear to be coming back online. We don't know. We don't know whether that at all is a hack. Aside from that, you've written a letter to the White House, and you're deeply involved with this in the intelligence community, saying the administration, we need to start doing more. The administration needs to start doing more on cybersecurity. What do you think needs to happen?
Well, a lot needs to happen, right? We all need to be better about our cyber hygiene, use two-factor authentication, all that stuff. We need to have better defenses. The notion that companies like CNN or like Colonial Pipeline doesn't need to tell the government when they've been attacked is just a crazy notion. But what my letter to the president focuses on is I've seen this for years. I've seen it for years. We have not established any sort of deterrence on cyber attacks. I remember back to President Obama's response to the 2016 election hack. There was the deportation of a bunch of Russian diplomats, in air quotes, closure of a facility, and of course, Vladimir Putin turned around and did it again and again and again. And so what we need to do, and I've had this conversation with any number of White House officials, we need to extract a significant cost from those who do this. Now, the FBI, of course, recovered some of the ransom associated with Colonial Pipeline, but the Russians and the Chinese and the North Koreans and the Iranians need to know that if they attack our infrastructure, they are going to get that back proportionately. How we do that, of course, is fairly classified, and the right way to do it is a little bit complicated, but we need to start melting people's equipment, emptying people's bank accounts, and setting up a deterrent. We have never effectively done that, and it's time for that to change.
Go on offense a little bit. Congressman, I want to get your take on something that I think surprised a lot of people overnight, which is that the Merrick Garland-led Justice Department is taking Donald Trump's side in this defamation lawsuit followed by E. Jean Carroll, who has accused the president of rape. She's also sued him for defamation for how he responded to her allegations of rape. The Bill Barr Justice Department says you can't do this because the president can't be sued for defamation while he says things in office as part of his job. Merrick Garland's Justice Department says, you know what? We agree with Donald Trump and Bill Barr on this. Are you satisfied with that?
No, I'm not satisfied with that. I mean, this is all going back to the previous topic of conversation. This is all, once again, Donald Trump escaping accountability, potentially, for wrongdoing. This is the story of this man's life. So, of course, it's not satisfying. Now, if you get a lawyer on the show, they'll explain to you why every once in a while, when the president's equities are at stake, the Department of Justice and the president, of course, is not necessarily defending Donald Trump or his behavior, but they're defending principles of how you ought to be able to go after a sitting president. So, no, it's profoundly unsatisfying, but we'll need to ask the lawyers to explain to us exactly why it makes sense for DOJ.
At first blush, are you disappointed in the Justice Department for this?
Yeah, since this was about personal conduct prior to Donald Trump becoming president, to me, that sort of feels like he ought to be held accountable the way any other American citizen would be held accountable for his actions. But again, you'll need to talk to a DOJ lawyer about why they think this makes sense.
Congressman Jim Himes, a pleasure to see you. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, John.